Hi guys, Shigu here. Thank you for 1K subscribers. That's awesome, by the way. And today I'm going to make a video about distros because there's a bunch of slop on YouTube, like AI slop about distros. Linux Mint is the best distro for beginners because it has a good environment and it looks like Windows. Let's get into the trenches. Let's understand stuff. There are a bunch of good videos, okay? I'll link some of them down below. Let's begin. Please skip ahead for one of the topics if you already know or you want something specific. So yeah, first of all, what's a distro? A Linux distribution is the combination of things that make an operating system using the Linux kernel. Because if you didn't know, Linux is just the kernel of operating system, which is the software that communicates all the hardware with the rest of the programs that are running. So it's like, oh, you get RAM, you get the threads, you get this, and it's like the coordinator of everything. In an operating system, it's way much more than that. There's a lot of parts working together. So if you want to doom scroll a lot, you need a bunch of things happening, okay? Even your cell phone has an operating system for you to use your TikTok and YouTube shorts and everything. So there are a bunch of different projects around there that are making parts of the operating system as an open source. So everybody can download these parts and everybody can build them and use them in their projects, which is very cool. Open source is very cool. I'm an open source developer myself, okay? I made a commit to Pygame Community Edition of translating the README, okay? So everybody can contribute with something. But the problem is all these parts are scattered around and you have to download them, find them, see which ones to work together, which ones depend on the other. And nobody has time for that. Only people that use some operating systems like Gentoo or Linux from scratch, but these people are a very specific niche that we're not getting into, but they have time, they want to learn, so leave them be. For example, these are like the base packages that make a Debian install. Debian is one of the Linux distros, and as you can see, a bunch of packages here that make the most bare bones operating system there is, like not even graphical user interface, just a terminal and you communicate with your computer. So like there's basically nothing here, but it makes the operating system. Before we go any further, please do not fall for these kinds of images right here. You can use Ubuntu as a server. There is like Ubuntu server. And you can use Debian as a desktop Linux. And you can put a 5090 on a Raspberry Pi. These images don't help a lot. Everything can be whatever you want in Linux, but we've been talking about packages and distros, so let's understand a little bit more of that. First of all, a package is the combination of things that make a program run on Linux. So your GIMP has all the graphic tools, all the libraries, everything that compose GIMP as a program. It's in a package that you can download using a package manager. And a package manager is the thing that you use to download, upgrade, or delete packages. So it's what handles all the dependencies, everything working together so nothing explodes. So these are the two things. Here are some examples on two different distros. So like Debian and Arch, apt and pacman are the package managers. Here's what they mean. And Firefox is a package. So it's like the Firefox app with the dependencies, everything that is going to install. So as you can see, they are similar. They do the same things in two different distros that package the packages in two different ways. And one thing about packages is someone has to maintain them. It has to have someone out there looking at that program and seeing, okay, what dependencies does it have? What other things there are in the operating system that I can use? What things do I have to install? What I'm gonna check everything is the maintainer of a package. So here we can see on the website for Arch Linux and Debian, here someone is maintaining this package, and here are the people that maintain this package here. So here's them is a browser. It's like the browser that I'm using right now on Arch. And here's for the Xorg things on Debian. This for the display server. So people maintain this stuff. They take the source code that exists somewhere out there, like the open source code. They take that, they do everything they have to do and transform it into a package that you can download with your package manager. The package manager takes this package and builds it and does everything to run in your program. So here's a very old version of GIMP. As you saw before, people maintain stuff for different distros. The person that maintains, for example, Firefox on Arch is not the same person that maintains Firefox on Debian. These are two different people. They have to deal with the way that Debian and Arch build their operating systems. So Debian, for example, may have dependencies that have different names from in Arch. And one dependency in Arch can be split in 3 different packages in Debian. All these things are taken in account when making a package, and that's why there are different packages for different operating systems. They have to deal with this. And that's a reason why you can't install a Debian package on Arch Linux or vice versa. There might be some workarounds, there might be something that will break Most likely, because it's hard. If they were easy, there wouldn't be the reason that people say like, oh, this distro is good, but there are not many packages. Some packages are made for this one and not made for that one. So that's the reason why it's hard. And we should be happy that there are people out there maintaining these packages so we can use our systems. On a quick note, there are ways that we can make a universal program for every distro out there. There are like app images, flatpaks, and snaps. Snaps suck, okay? Snaps are a company version of a flatpak that is an open source project. So right now, Hightail just came out. And Hightail came out as a flatpak. So you come here, open Hightail from the launcher, opens up, installs. And what are these things? They basically take the app and bundle all the dependencies in one and ship that. So when you open the app, it's like a container, you know, Docker, with your app and all the dependencies that do not take account the dependencies that are in the system. It's like a different version, separate from everything. It has some safety advantages, but it's a heavier file, but performance is basically the same. Some people don't like it. I personally like it. I think it's a good way to deal with stuff. Snap is a closed source version of that Ubuntu made. That's why I don't recommend Ubuntu. They force snaps. Snaps are the slowest version, and they take more space, and they suck. If you see Flatpak, app image, they're good. There are videos out there that go more in depth in this comparison. I'm gonna link some down below. And distros are maintained in different ways. So there are distros that are rolling release or fixed release. A rolling release basically means it rolls on the tongue. Rolling release. There are no versions for the distro. There is Arch Linux. There is Void Linux. These distros are the same one for decades. So as you can see here, I took two examples. I took this screenshot of the place that you install Arch Linux here on 2026, and this one on 2020. As you can see, it's the same files, it's the same ISOs, the same thing. Here right now we just have an updated version of the packages, and that's what happens. The packages come and you just install them, and you have the most bleeding edge, the thing that just came out. On fixed release distros, we have the way that it works on Windows. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here's Debian 11, 12, 13. These versions have different packages that they use. The Trixie version of Debian has more up-to-date versions of the packages from the Bookworm version, and so on and so forth. As you can see, some versions are maintained a lot of time, so security updates go to them. So it's not like the package came out on 2020, you're gonna have the exact version of that package on 2020. It's not like that. Updates still come through, especially security ones. And sometimes you're gonna hear the terms unstable and stable. An unstable version does not mean that it breaks, okay? I use Arch Linux, I break it one time, and it was my fault, not the distro's version. It just means that for a package to be on a fixed release version, they have to wait a long time to see if everything's working, more checks, more everything, which makes the package take a longer time to get to you, but you have the certainty that it's not gonna break your system. Arch doesn't break like that. People say, oh, it comes out at the time it's gonna break. The package just came out, you're gonna install it, it's gonna break your system. It's not like that, okay? One of the things that Arch may have is like the AOR. There are people putting their codes and that might break, but I use Arch for like 2 years, 1 year and a half now. It's been a pleasant experience. So don't think that rolling release is bad and you're not going to use that. There are some use cases for it. For example, new hardware. Sometimes the hardware just came out. Drivers for it are only on Arch Linux because it's the only place that has it, that because bleeding edge. So you need to stay there, but eventually we'll come down to the other ones. Now let's talk about why distros are based on another one. As you can see here, you cannot because it's very zoomed out. This is distro family tree. So it's basically how distros are based on another. Here we have Debian and all the other distros that came out of it. Look how many distros. Remember that I just told you guys that a distro has to have someone maintaining the packages? Imagine you right now just came out and thought, I have the best version of Linux on my head. I'm gonna make a Linux distro. You're not gonna have any packages. You're not gonna have anything compiled. You're not gonna have anything. So when companies and people come out, they usually base their distros on someone who already has packages. That's why one of the reasons that a lot of packages are based on Ubuntu or Debian. They already have the packages there. You just have to build your little environment. And that's what people do. Omarchi, for example, that just came out. People like it. It's like the bleeding edge version of, oh, Hyperland, and look at this config and all the colors. Oh, it's based on Arch Linux. It's just Arch Linux with pre-installed stuff on it. Some people have the opinion that all the distros are just Arch or Debian, and that's true, but it takes away the work that some people do to maintain these distros, because some of these distros have their own mirrors. So a mirror basically is the repositories of a package. It's on a server and you can download from it. Ubuntu has different mirrors than Debian and different philosophies. Distros have different philosophies. So I don't like when people say, oh, you're recommending Linux Mint, people should just use Debian and install what they want. And that's one of the reasons that people don't come to Linux. People don't want to install a computer and have to install everything to make the computer work. I use Arch Linux, but that's because I want to break and mold my system or whatever I want. Some people just want to use the web or play their games, and that's okay. On the Arch side, I agree a little bit more, because the whole Arch thing of rolling release and stuff like that is you understanding more of the system and the things for a regular user. But on the Debian side, man, just use Linux Mint. It's the first Linux that I used, and it's not because interfaces like Windows, it's just because things worked. And Ubuntu was already with the bad reputation of taking data and pushing snaps, and Canonical going crazy. So Linux Mint, which is a fork of Ubuntu, is not going crazy and is not forcing bad stuff, and they actively go against using snaps. So these guys are great, and this one's not so, and this distro came from this one. Is it the same? It's not the same. If I were a regular user, I just came out of the Windows and I want to use a distro that makes things work, I would go with Linux Mint. A version just came out, new updates, new good things. So I would recommend that one for you. I'm a gamer, I want a game. Use Linux Mint. Just install the drivers and use Linux Mint. You don't need Bazite, you don't need Pop OS, you don't need all of these things. Just use Linux Mint. I think Linux Mint is the default and what people should aspire to be. But if you're looking for something more specific, you're more tech savvy and you like computers, just use whatever you want. They're all the same. You can turn one into another. It's all the same. I hope you took away something good from this video. Please leave a comment with your opinion. If I said something wrong, please correct me. I will make a pinned comment with all the corrections. Like and subscribe. See you guys next time.